Hey everyone, here, Dani Dazey, Trixie Motel designer, here coming to you from a different room in my house because I'm just gonna try to change it up and keep it interesting. And also, as you might imagine, my house is designed really wild as well, very similar to the hotel and a lot of my interior design work. And today we are starting with episode 1. Even though we started technically with the finale, I'm bringing it back to episode 1. I'm gonna go through each episode, starting from the first. And this room, the Pink Flamingo room, still remains one of my favorite rooms. It's my second favorite room. It was first favorite for a while, but then I awarded my favorite to a different room. I'll tell you later. Anyways, Pink Flamingo. I was so nervous to get this room started. It was the very first room I designed, the first room that I pitched to the network, showed Trixie and David. And it was also the very first print design I did for the motel and mural design. So I spent a lot of time working on this one and pouring it over and being really anxious and nervous before sending it over. But I think all that hard work paid off because it was like immediately well received by Trixie and David and the network, and everyone loved it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the custom mural and print that I designed, which I was just really happy that they liked it because I really wanted to use murals in all the different rooms, and I really wanted to design a custom print for all of the rooms. And I think that this room really helped set the trend of being able to do a custom print for the room and a mural. And I think it gave them a lot of trust in my design work for the rest of the project. And it helped me relax a little bit because I was like, all right, we got one room down, everyone loves it. Actually, it sort of made me feel more nervous for the rest of the rooms. Like I had to beat myself in that first design, but it felt good to like nail a design. And I'm also really excited they let me use the print for my clothing line. So when you're hired on by a show, I was hired on as an employee of the Scott brothers, who are our producers on the show. They own all the work you do. That's just how corporate design and hired on work like that kind of works. Like I used to work in corporate design, fashion design for many years, and they just own the work that you do. But I was really grateful that the network and the production company let me use some of the prints for my clothing line. So this is my clothing line, Daisy LA. And this is the Pink Flamingo print. I called it Pink Paradise in honor of the Trixie Motel. And I have these on my site, as well as a t-shirt that has like the whole mural. So definitely check that out. But let's start from the top of the episode. I remember watching this episode for the first time at the Trixie Motel premiere, and everyone was there. It was really wild. We hadn't seen any of the episodes until my dog's here in the background. You might see my dogs run around. But we hadn't seen any of the cuts, anything. And we watched it with a bunch of people around, and it was kind of nerve-wracking. So me and Philip entered the series a little later than we originally thought we were going to because they had to cut a lot of stuff to fit it in this episode. They fit so much jam-packed into these episodes. So they kind of had the intro of the show really like narrate and like close a lot of tied ends, I guess you could say. Like they really kind of tell the original story of purchasing the motel, of finding me and Rios, and kind of package it up into like the first 10 minutes of the show. But there was a whole scene that we did film at our house in Palm Springs. Me and Philip own and operate an Airbnb out in Palm Springs. Holler if the Trixie Motel is booked. My Airbnb in Palm Springs is super cute, really special, very similar to the Trixie Motel. But we did film a scene there where I get to meet David and Brandon. They sort of interviewed me for the job. And then there was also a cut scene where I get to meet Trixie for the first time at the motel. And I've said this before online, it might be for the best that they cut that scene because I feel like I was very fangirly, and I think that they kind of tried to cut some of the scenes where I was basically saying, I've never done any sort of project close to this size of this project, and I was being a fangirl. So I think that they really wanted to frame me as like very professional, especially right off the bat. I had to sort of like earn the audience's trust as an authority in design, which, you know, I've been designing clothes interiors graphics for like many years, but I think it was good for the first episode. They were like, this girl's a pro. She's not gonna fangirl and say, this is a really big project. I've never done anything like this before, even though that was the truth. I've never done anything like this. I've done a lot of my spaces and mostly residential or office type of properties, and a lot of like content creation spaces, but not a public facing commercial property, especially of this size. So those were some of the scenes that were cut that might be interesting for you guys to know, but I get that they had to kind of make it more concise for the sake of fitting it all into a show and getting you to trust me. But you know, it could have been a sweet angle, kind of showing me as the rookie that I was and then being able to pull it off in the end. But it was just cuts and decisions made by the network, and I absolutely love how the first episode turned out. I remember I was sort of afraid that, because I feel like the edit has so much to do with how good a show is. Like the edit is half of the work. It's half of the storytelling. And the edit of this show is so good, it's quick, it's funny, and the editors did an amazing job. So I am happy as hell, and I just trust them with the editing wholeheartedly. And I just rewatched it, so it's very fresh in my mind. And with Lisa Vanderpump as the first special guest, I mean, that was huge. And Trixie and Lisa are genuinely really good friends. So it was really cool to see her first reaction and Trixie's first reaction to the motel. Lisa Vanderpump is an absolute pro. You have to realize she's not only a reality star, but she is a restaurant serialpreneur. She's started so many businesses and she really knows her stuff. So it was amazing to have her on the show and really kind of walk Trixie through what a big project this is going to be and prep her with expectations you might find on a job site. Because honestly, even the first time I went there, I was like, whoa, this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be fun and it has good bones, which is like, good bones are the most important thing to me. I can work with a spot with good bones, but there was a lot of work to do. It was pretty run down and the whole room felt really dark and drab, and it was a good blank canvas. I mean, the before and afters are going to be pretty impactful when the before starts like that, and seeing Trixie's initial reaction to the motel and the fact that she hadn't seen it before they bought it is just really wild. But David saw something there and I can see why. It's a beautiful spot. It really is. But David Silver really he was the one that pushed this whole project and came up with the whole concept. And there's a lot of tender scenes in the first episode where Trixie and David get to share a moment of like, Trixie has had so much success, and in their 5-year relationship, she's just done amazing, incredible things. And it's really sweet that Trixie sees the Trixie Motel as an opportunity for David to shine and do something he loves. David Silver didn't even want to be on the show. He told me and Philip that when we were first walking through the motel. He just was like not a big spotlight guy and wasn't sure, but ended up being such an amazing character on the show, and he was such a natural, and I think he adds so much to the show, because I mean, that's the real story. The story is that Trixie and David bought a motel and took on this huge project as a couple, and with me and Philip working together, I know how difficult but also rewarding and cool it is to work with your significant other. So I think that was really cool. They were able to really show all of that in the first scene of the motel or of the show, and it was really touching, and it was really funny to see Lisa and see them go shopping, find those pink flamingo lamps that really kicked off the theme of the first room. I love the theme, and it was such a fun design to do. Rewatching the kind of previewing the room with David and Trixie was really fun, and we talk about a few things like how we really want to make kitsch elevated for the motel. And that's something I love to do in my design work, is use bright colors, fun prints, and make it really playful, but also make it feel really elevated and tasteful and rich. And I think we really pulled it off in this room. So the cute little cartoons you see of the room designs before every episode is actually a super fun version of my actual computer renderings. Here is the rendering for Pink Flamingo. And as you can see, these are actual photographs shopped into my Photoshop file. And this is what they based all those cute cartoons off of. These were the designs that I actually pitched to Trixie and David and the network to get everything approved. And as you can see here, I got to design the cute little stained glass, and I actually got to design the mural and the print for the room as well, which was so cool because it really set the stage for doing murals and custom prints for each room. I hand drew the mural design in Procreate and I uploaded it here into the Photoshop file. I designed the mural before I designed the repeat print. So once I designed that, I ended up taking the different elements and turning it into a pattern that would repeat over and over again that we could use on the curtains, the sheets, the wallpaper. Trixie and David were a little skeptical at first, but they all ended up looking so good together. And I love when vintage interiors have all matching prints. I think it's so kitschy and fun. The demo day scene was a lot of fun, but honestly a lot more difficult than I thought. I remember putting on my cute outfit, ready to like wreck this room. And it's hard, like it takes a lot of muscle and it's kind of dangerous too. Luckily, we were all geared up with helmets and boots, but I totally stepped in like a shallow nail on a board. Luckily, I had all of the proper equipment on. And I like lifted my foot up and there was like a whole board nailed to my foot. So it's really dangerous. And that was like the one demo that I got to be a part of. After that, I was like, y'all have fun. I had my fill, I got my anger out, and it was cool. And Trixie falling was real. That really happened. And we were all like standing there like, it happened in slow motion, so I think we were all kind of like confused, and I saw people online kind of commenting like, nobody goes to help her, but we were like, what do we do? Do we like interrupt the scene? Anyways, it made for TV gold, so thank you for falling, Trixie. The old gays, I absolutely love them. I stumbled upon them on TikTok, as probably most people have. I immediately emailed the producers on the show and I was like, I think they live in Palm Springs. Their backdrops look very mid-century, deserty. Do you think we can get them on the show? And they pulled it off. And I didn't get to meet them. I don't know what we were doing that day. We were doing something else. But I thought their scene with Trixie was so cool. And I thought it was going to be originally more of a funny scene because they're kind of known for that on TikTok. But I think it was better. It was a really touching scene where they got to talk about the history of Palm Springs and how they really were part of a generation that paved the way for the gay community to have a space and own motels and have a city full of bars and spaces specifically made for that community. So I thought it was a really touching scene, and I love the old gays. One of the main design elements of this room is the mural. And I've painted a lot of murals in my day, but none have been as difficult and draining and time consuming as this mural. And Trixie really worked her ass off and helped us. Like even when the camera stopped rolling, she was like, no, I'm here to help you guys. And we had a lot of PAs come in and help us. And that first day we got a lot done, but the white paint was so milky that we ended up having to do so many layers and ended up taking like the whole week to go over and perfect it. But it was worth it, and I really don't think I'll ever do a mural that complicated again. It was quite the undertaking. And again, I just really wanted to impress and wow with the first room. And I think that mural does that. It's the first thing you see when you walk in, and it really anchors in the flamingo theme. The stained glass moment. It's absolutely beautiful. I remember first time walking in the motel room, seeing that window and not knowing what to do because I absolutely wanted to keep the glass block. I love the glass block. But that window kind of had like a shelf. Since the glass block is super thick, It was like a special window designed just to go with the glass block. And I didn't know where we could get a custom window made, especially in our timeline, to fit that weird specific box. So I thought of, how can we dress it up? I love taking things and dressing it up. And that stained glass with the color film trick, I've used it on a lot of projects. It's an amazing hack, by the way. It's called glass colored film. I have it linked on my blog post so you can actually find the exact film that we used. But I was trying to think of a way similar to that we can dress up these windows without having to take out the actual glass. And as I mentioned in the episode, I really feel like we not only found a way to fix the ugly window problem, but we brought in a piece of art and an amazing design element to the room. And the way the light shines through that stained glass and leaves like a little pattern on the ground, on the bed, it's just so beautiful and special. A lot of the time, stained glass is used in stuffy environments or churches, and it really should be used more spaces because it's beautiful and it's art and it fits in perfectly with the drag motel. It's sort of reclaiming stained glass, and I love that. Another super fun element in this room is the half wall with the wainscoting. As you can see behind me, I love half walls. They're such a good hack for interiors. It's also a great way to add interest to a room without having to do too much work. This is literally a piece of wood that me and Philip stapled, nailed to the wall, and then painted the bottom one color from the half. And this is sort of the same concept that we did in Pink Flamingo, except we added that texture in with the wainscoting cane. It's just a strip of cane texture that we ordered online. I do recommend soaking it before putting it up. That helps you kind of stretch it as you put it up, and it'll shrink as it dries, so it'll be a little more taut on the wall. Ours is a little loose, but I think it still kind of gives a cool texture moment. And once we painted it pink, it looked so cute. And it was a really nice play along with the mural. The kitchen was such an amazing transformation, and we loved it so much that we did end up kind of copy pasting that similar concept to the other rooms with the kitchenette. The terrazzo counters by Concrete Collaborative, obsessed. The fire clay tile backsplash, I got to pick the colors and the design, and we were able to use the tile from the backsplash and actually make matching side tables and a coffee table, which really made the whole room cohesive. I love to use lots of patterns, lots of colors, but you'll notice that they're always tied in other places in the room. Like you'll see that print tied in the kitchen and then on the side tables, and there's a print on the carpet, but that color is tied in, so they all end up working together harmoniously. I feel like a lot of people are confused how all these prints can go together, but if there's like a color story tying them together, they really can, and it looks amazing. The glam rooms, those were a really fun project. When I saw those closets, I was like, I don't know how I can make this cute. So I'm really glad they were game to rip those out and make something really cool for a drag motel, a space for you to get ready in. The bathrooms are small and we couldn't really change the footprint there. So creating a room where people can get ready, they have a mirror, they have a gorgeous vanity. I actually got to design the vanities with the little wavy edge. We got those custom made in Los Angeles. And we got to do a little bench and a rack. And I think a lot of hotel rooms I'm seeing lately are simplifying the whole closet area. It doesn't need to be closed off. It can kind of be open. That's easier. You're just there for a few days. And I think it really worked out in there. We also did the custom cubby with the cute little curved holes. I got to design that. And the bathroom, yo. The moment I walked in the motel and saw that tile, I loved it right away. It was already pink, it was cute, and it really is a trend right now to have a square tile. And the reglazing totally transformed the space. This is something I have seen friends do, and I've seen it done. I didn't realize that you could reglaze over the walls and all of the grout, but it looked amazing, and the colors in that bathroom are just so fun. We switched out all of the hardware with gorgeous brass hardware that made it feel so much more elevated and made this vintage bathroom that we really didn't do a whole lot of changes in feel new and elevated. It's amazing what the reglazing does. I'm getting so many questions about reglazing online, and basically it's just a special paint designed to coat and cover baths and just surfaces like that. It has like a hard shell on the outside, and it feels like a regular bath sort of porcelain. And it's a very thick paint, and they dry it, and it's really sturdy, and it'll last a while. It's not gonna last forever. That's one thing to know about reglazing. And I asked about reglazing the toilets because that would have been so cute. But with all the flushing in the water and just like the constant water in there, I guess it's a little trickier to reglaze a toilet. So we settled with the shower walls and the bath, but they look amazing. I'm actually gonna reglaze a tub at my house, and I'm gonna share more about reglazing on here and on my TikTok, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. Something that we decided to do in the bathroom was a little floating countertop because there's not a lot of space in the bathroom, and we wanted it to feel a little bit bigger. So we went with a little floating vanity, and we put that same terrazzo on there, and then a gorgeous little vessel sink from Concrete, and then a gorgeous little brass little faucet and all that. And I think it just looks so good. Switching out lighting is another huge way I like to upgrade a space. The lighting that you see behind me in the ceiling, those were just canned recessed lighting, and me and Philip swapped them out for these semi-flush mounts. And it's wild what a difference lighting can make in a room. It can add so much character, so much charm, and it also just has a prettier glow than basic lighting. The grand reveal of this room to Trixie was so special. She did not see the room before we filmed that. We're really careful to make the show really real. And I feel like I must have a skewed view of reality TV compared to most people who have been on reality TV, because we really wanted to keep the show as true to reality as possible. And she hadn't seen the room. She walked in, and her choking up and her really happy reaction was all really real. And me and David were really nervous. Like right before she was about to come in, we were kind of sweating and getting really anxious, but seeing her reaction was such a relief. And it just made me so happy. Like, to be able to reveal a finished space to your client is so rare. And we were sure to keep her out of the room past a certain point, like after the mural. So it was really fresh and real. And there was some scenes that were cut where me and Trixie are in the bathroom, and she just is like, Dani, come here. And I sit on her lap, and she was just like my sweet like drag mom or something. But just a lot of really cute moments. And then we're all kind of sitting on the bed, sleepover style, talking about what a wild ride it's been already, and that we're only one room down. But I really think we knocked this room out of the park. Everyone still seems to like have this room in their top faves, which is really cool. I'm glad it was able to stay a favorite throughout the series, because I put my heart and my soul and my back into this room, and I think it's really special. Thanks so much for watching the room recap of episode 1, Trixie Motel, Pink Flamingo. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm going to be doing Queen of Hearts, another really amazing room. And there's a lot more where this comes from on my Instagram. You can follow me at Dani Dazey, on TikTok at Dani Dazey. Go to my website, dazeyla.com. It's my clothing line, but I also have a personal blog on there where I've been recapping every single episode with photos you can repin, the story behind the show, and also links to all of the products. So I make that really easy. Anyway, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more Trixie Motel recaps and just daring design in general.